women and other vulnerable people, particularly children, face significant violations of their rights in a wide range of justice matters.
Zambia is one of the countries in sub-Saharan Africa where 80% of its citizens live in abject poverty. As a result, most of the Zambians living in this poverty situation have difficulties accessing justice.
Access to justice in our respective countries is a universal right. Justice should not, and is not only for those who can afford lawyers or those in urban and affluent societies. Justice is especially for those who can't afford lawyers, for the indigent, for the weak in our societies, for the poor.
In order to respond to this situation, the Paralegal Alliance Network has been implementing various activities specifically to promote access to justice for all.
As a consortium, we see how we can actually just work together to make sure that we work around, the challenges that are common. Even as we want to provide, legal aid services to the communities.
One of the major activities is the training of paralegals who have been providing legal aid services to the indigents in correctional facilities, police detention centers, at court premises, and various communities.
It is my recommendation that this be the start of a consistent peer review and learning mechanism in our quest to ensure access to justice for all.
I would want to see PAN, transform into a resource center, so that then this can be a place where members can go and do research. Scholars can go to do research. Students from the various universities can come and carry out their research.
The standardization and training of paralegals will spread PAN tentacles and reach the poor in rural parts of Zambia. Using the newly developed curriculum, PAN conducted one training at the University of Zambia while being involved in conducting Level 1 training at the Zambian Institutes for Advanced Legal Education.
We have a new system of training paralegals. So 3 levels, you have to follow what the standard that the Ministry of Education has actually provided. And so we have started doing those trainings. We are training about 32 paralegals, and that has just finished. And we were doing an assessment with the VETA itself, which is the Ministry of Education. They came and just look at what we have done so before these people can graduate.
PAN was funded to train some paralegals, and so I have 2 paralegals that have benefited from PAN that were trained in basic legal education, and they'll become better paralegals as they graduate, and that will definitely enhance our work as we represent the poor people in Zambia.
The beneficiaries of the training stressed the importance of the training and how the skills will benefit the people.
This course is very important to us, and it is coming as a very cardinal aid, because paralegals get to bridge the gap between the communities and the legal representatives. This will ensure that irregardless of the place where one is, they'll get the same amount of service. This includes people in the rural areas and the people in the urban areas.
The government is so helpful that they are bringing us together so that we learn more from the people who are experts in these lessons.
This training is very important as it will give them more knowledge and understanding on the law, which will help them as they deliver out there.
PAN, as a membership organization, has scored a number of success ever since it was established. Through the efforts of PAN and other key stakeholders, the country has a legal aid policy system in place. The legal aid policy has provided a legal framework for the recognition and operations of paralegals and their work in Zambia.
There seems to always be lingering this question of recognition. Other countries have moved forward, but others are still lagging behind. We are lucky in Zambia that we have moved towards recognition through the legal aid policy that we have.
We want to thank God that now we have the legal aid policy in place, and that legal aid policy is actually talking about the very desks. In other words, the government is going to adopt the legal desks that we are running at courts, the legal desks that we have at police station, and the legal desks that we have in our correctional facilities.
In order to have regional recognition of paralegals in the SADC region, PAN, in conjunction with Paralegal Advisory Service Institute, held a regional conference to share information on paralegal work from some countries in the SADC region and beyond. The conference was held in Lusaka, Zambia, and attracted participants from Malawi, South Africa, Mozambique, Sierra Leone, Zimbabwe, Tanzania, Namibia, and Botswana.
Well, for now, as Zambia, we can say we are on the safe side because we have a policy that recognizes paralegal work. But then in most countries in Africa or in the SADC region, that's not the case. So what we want is to make sure that these are our colleagues can also learn from what has happened here, but also in other countries, because it has happened in Tanzania, it has happened in Kenya and Sierra Leone as well, where a law has been formulated and it recognizes the role paralegals can play in the justice system.
That is why the work of PAN and all its members should be commended, as it helps poor people to access justice.
It calls for a lot of collaboration, because the clinic cannot manage to have lawyers and all these people at every point. It therefore calls for collaboration. But collaboration cannot work well without an informed team of people around the country. So in that regard, the National Legal Aid Clinic for Women has worked with major players like our partners, the Paralegal Alliance Network. Because when the National Legal Aid Clinic started training paralegals, we realized that we needed partners, those with the expertise in putting all these teams together. And the Paralegal Alliance was one of them. So the Alliance has a greater role, and that role is unchallengeable.